Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 585 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. What's going on? How have you guys been? Have you had a good week so far? Well, it's about to get better because you're here, and that's what we do, is make things better. Okay, so one thing I have found that is undeniable, and I think we forget it sometimes, is that we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else. I mean, we talk about ourselves too in our head more than anyone else talks about us. I think it's important to remember that because our self-talk can be our best friend or it can be our worst enemy. And I want you to be your best friend, and I want to be my own best friend. I mean, who doesn't want their own personal cheerleader, right? So Eric and I have a path that we run when we run outside, and we always turn around at this one street corner. It's when we do kind of our longer run, which is only about 4.5 miles, but you know, it feels good and that's long enough. Anyway, so we run to the street corner. It has a stoplight, but it also has this pole, and the pole has signs on it, and one of the signs is this little hand, and it looks like it is asking for a high five. So every time we get there and Eric is running with me, Eric will give it a high five. Silly, I know, but it's like, hey, we made it halfway and we're glad about it. So I was running by myself the other day and I got to that sign, and the intersection was really busy, and so there were lots of cars, and I thought, oh, it's kind of embarrassing to do that. I mean, people might make fun of me or think I'm an idiot. But then I thought, wait a minute, that sounds so silly of me to say. So I'm going to do it regardless because I'm working on doing things out of my comfort zone. So I ran to the sign, I high-fived the little hand. And guess what? There were no accidents from people running into each other laughing. I couldn't even say if anyone noticed at all. So I had a little conversation with myself once I turned and I was running back to the house. And I said, now listen, what if you were in a car and you were sitting at that intersection and someone high-fived that sign while they were running, like they were turning around? What would you think? So if I noticed it all, which I probably wouldn't, I think I would think, good for them running on a hot day. Now, I might wonder why they high-fived the sign, but then I would go when the light turned green and I would never even think about it again, more than likely. You see, it is so common for us to think that other people are thinking about us because we think about ourselves so much. Reality is, they really aren't. And if you step outside of your own thoughts and consider the amount of time you really dwell on someone else, it's likely not a lot, unless, of course, someone close to you is having something going on, and that's a big deal, but that's a special case. Most of the time, we just aren't thinking about other people as much as we think about ourselves, and they aren't likewise. They are not thinking about us either. And just like I did with the high five sign, if you think about what you'd be thinking, you're not dwelling on other people, especially not strangers. Yet, it will stop us from doing things because we're worried about what other people will think. I mean, we've all had those moments, right, where we stop ourselves from doing something because we're worried about how it'll look. You know, maybe it's not high-fiving a sign when on your run. Maybe it's not speaking up in a meeting because you're afraid your idea sounds dumb. Or maybe it's not wearing that outfit you love, that new one that you're kind of stepping out because you think people might raise an eyebrow. Whatever it is, that inner voice can be really loud. It's like a backseat driver in your head, constantly chiming in with, what if they laugh at you? What if they judge you? What if I fail? But here's the thing. That voice is not always your friend. It's often just fear dressed up as caution. And the more we listen to it, the more we shrink ourselves into a box that feels safe, but keeps us very stuck, which can be it can actually lead to a very unfulfilling life. What if instead of letting that self-talk stop us, we used it to push ourselves forward? What if we had a conversation with ourselves that said, hey, you're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to try new things, even if it feels a little weird or risky. I mean, 5 years ago when I started this podcast, I was told by people I respect, you can't just start a podcast. You can't do that. I had someone else ask, what if nobody listens? I mean, aren't you going to be a little bit embarrassed? Now, I didn't take any of that too seriously because I can handle if no one listens. And in the beginning, no one did, except for Eric, my always supportive husband, and Molly, my always supportive baby sister. You better believe I had to work around a lot of self-talk. Trust me. But now it feels as if this podcast is as much a part of my life as breathing is. So how do we start shifting the self-talk to work for us instead of against us? Well, I mean, first of all, you have to know you're doing it. You have to catch that thought. I mean, the next time you're about to talk yourself out of something because of what they might think, notice that you're doing it. Call it out. I mean, maybe say to yourself, okay, all right, I'm worried about looking silly. Why? I mean, just naming that thought takes away some of its power. It's like shining a flashlight on a shadow. It's not as scary when you see it clearly. And then you could put that thought in perspective. And that's what I did when I was on my run. I asked myself, okay, if I saw someone else doing this, would I really care? And would it stick with me? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. You're not the center of everyone else's universe. And that's really freeing. I mean, it means you can take risks. You can try new things. You can step out of your comfort zone without the world stopping to stare. And yes, sometimes they might. So that's why we also have to train ourselves to do the thing anyway. That's a big one. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the thing even when you're scared. So high five the sign, speak up in the meeting, start the blog, wear the dress, whatever it is, take that first step, because every time you do, you're telling that inner voice, I'm in charge here, not you. And the more you practice this, the quieter that self-doubting voice gets. And it matters because a wildly successful lifestyle, whatever that looks like for you, doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from showing up as your full, authentic self, even when it feels uncomfortable. I mean, think about the people you admire most. Chances are they're not perfect. They're not flawless, but they are bold. They're willing to be seen. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to fail and keep going. That's what makes them stand out. And that's what's available to you too when you stop letting fear of judgment run the show. When I high-fived that sign that day, it wasn't just about slapping a metal hand on a pole. It was about choosing myself over my fear. It was about saying, I'm going to do this because it feels right to me, not because it makes sense to anyone else. And you know what? It felt really good. And it was just a tiny win. But those tiny wins add up. They build confidence. They remind you that you're capable of more than you think. So here's my challenge to you this week. Have a conversation with yourself. I mean, the next time you're hesitating because you're worried about what someone might think, go through those 3 steps. Be sure to catch the thought, then flip the perspective, and finally act anyway. Do it anyway. I mean, maybe it's something small like trying out the new Mahjong group. Maybe it's something bigger like pitching a new idea to your boss or signing up for that class you've been eyeing. Whatever it is, do it. And when you do, celebrate it. When you step out of your comfort zone, whenever you step out of your comfort zone, because nobody really likes doing that, give yourself some credit. Because it isn't easy. Tell yourself, hey, I did that. I showed up. Because those moments are the building blocks of a wildly successful life. They're proof that you're growing and that you're moving toward the version of yourself that you have always wanted to be. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. So be kind to yourself, but also be brave. Talk to yourself like you're cheering on your best friend because you deserve that kind of support. And when you start to worry about what other people think, remind yourself they're not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. So go out there and live life on your terms. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a little nudge to step out of their comfort zone. And as always, keep showing up, keep growing, and hey, keep high-fiving those signs, literal or not. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.